Hello, you're in the lab. I'm Brianna, and guess what? We're not going to do any work today. We're just going to bang on the drums. That's right. Derek K. Miller and Paul Garay are here, and they're going to show off the MIDI drum kit. Rick Yeager's going to give us a tutorial, and Warren's going to show you how to shoot quality video. All happening today on the lab.
Good to see you. Welcome. It's time for the lab. I am Leo Laporte, your lab meister, here with some great stuff for you, all about technology, how to use it, how to abuse it, how to lose it when you're done abusing it and using it, how to choose it. Ladies and gentlemen, Brianna McIver.
You're never going to get it right.
MacGyver. I try. Hi, Brianna.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm good, Laporte.
Good. We call her old One-Eye Brianna.
That's a secret.
Secret story we'll tell another day. Yep. Sometimes I call her baby ears.
Yeah, that's another secret story.
Secret story. Were you going to play the drums? Are you going to try this?
Well, I would like to, but I don't think that's...
Derek's a good drummer. He's going to be great. We'll show you MIDI drums. That's very interesting. It's actually a great thing for people who want to play the drums but don't want to disturb the neighbors. We're also going to talk about a tutorial on how to do tutorials.
Yep.
Don't know what that means. We'll find out. Video tips too. You've got a tip. Sean's got a shiny. We've just got a great show planned for you. But the most important part of these shows, it says so right here, is you, the callers. Let's get a caller on the air here. What do you think?
The first caller, his name is Costa, and he's from Toronto.
Okay, great. Thank you, Brianna. Hello, Costa.
Hey, Leo. How's it going?
It's going great. How are you today?
Oh, I'm fine.
What can I do for you?
Okay, so basically my question is, I have an Xbox 360 and a computer in my room. And whenever I want to play Xbox Live, I have to unplug my Ethernet wire from my computer and plug it into my Xbox.
Right.
I was wondering if there was a way to split that one Ethernet wire to go into my computer and Xbox without changing my router, because my router's full right now with computer.
Yeah, and you want your router to do the job the router is designed to do, which is to assign each computer its unique internet address, its IP address. Even if it's not on the internet, it needs a unique address on your network. So that's exactly what the router's doing, but it's run out of ports. So now what you need is something called a hub. A hub is here's a 4-port hub from Netgear, and everybody makes these. Linksys, Netgear, D-Link. It's just a dumb device that's essentially like a splitter. You put the Ethernet in, and then you have 2, 3, 4, 8, 16, 32, as many as you want to pay for, little outputs. I bet you somebody makes somewhere a 2-port hub, but most of the time they're like these 4-port hubs, and that's going to cost you $30 or $40. They're not very expensive. It's effectively a splitter. The big difference between a hub and a router is the router is smart. It's routing traffic. It's saying you go there, you go there, you go there, and it's also assigning internet addresses. It's keeping track of who's where and so forth. The hub doesn't do anything. It's like the hub on a wagon wheel. It just splits the internet access or the network access out to as many places as it's got ports for. So that should solve your problem.
Oh, okay. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Linksys, Netgear, like I said, D-Link, there are a lot of companies that make these. They're not very expensive. All right, you ready? I want to see some drum in action. Coming up in just a little bit, we're going to show you what's the deal with MIDI drums. This is Derek Miller, the guy who plays the theme for Windows Weekly and many other great shows that I do. You don't do Windows Weekly, do you?
Yeah, I do.
You do?
Yeah.
You do? You're the one.
I'm the one.
He's going to play the drums. They look like little rubber pads, but no, they sound great. We'll be back and show you how MIDI drums work. And the lab continues right after this. Welcome back to the lab. Derek K. Miller's an old friend. He's a blogger for years at penmachine.com. Early on, decided to give away his music on penmachine.com, his Creative Commons music. That's how I discovered you. I found this great song, Better Red Than Red. And I use it for a theme for one of my podcasts. Derek was very kind to let me use it. And we've become friends ever since. He comes on the lab frequently to talk about music technology. Good to have you, Derek.
Yeah, just me today. My co-host Paul is not here today.
All right, just you.
And we're
I should say co-host of
Inside Home Recording.
Inside Home Recording, which is I forgot to mention, is a great podcast where you learn about all this stuff.
Right.
Now, I always thought of Derek as a guitarist because you play the guitar on Better Red Than Red. And, but it turns out you're a drummer.
Yes.
And a guitarist.
That's what I was full-time as a drummer for a couple of years there, but I also play guitar sort of on the side. That's what I learned guitar first and then figured out I was actually better at drums.
That's what I thought was interesting. So you studied guitar as a kid, classical guitar, and you learned it, spent years learning it.
And then I had a roommate who is still my guitar player who picked up the guitar and got better than me in 6 months.
It's a shame.
And I discovered at a New Year's party that I could sort of play the drums without ever having tried. So I taught myself the drums.
It's good you found your instrument.
Yeah, it is.
Do you think every person who plays a musical instrument has an instrument? Like
or sometimes I've met people who are talented at many, which is kind of depressing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does seem like there's something that's your particular forte. I know
for whatever reason.
For whatever reason. So drums happen to be mine, and here we're talking about electronic drums.
Yeah, I mean, I got my kid a drum kit when he was a little bit younger, kid's drum kit, because he liked to bang on things, and he certainly enjoyed it. But there's a problem with the drum kit.
It's loud.
It's really loud. This was when we were on a farm. We had a barn. We put them in the barn. When we moved into the city, it was like, I'm sorry, you can't have your drum kit.
Or if you're in an apartment,
worse yet.
And worse so. So now, as a drummer, these don't feel the same as a real drum kit. They don't sound the same, but they're pretty good, and they've gotten better over in the past decade in particular. These pads are all rubber, but they feel pretty good. They feel sort of like a practice,
They're like a practice drum, aren't they?
Yeah, like a practice drum. There are newer ones that actually have a mesh covering that's like an actual drum skin.
Yeah, because what you hear is a tap, tap, tap.
Yeah.
That's a little weird. You hear the drum sound, but you as the drummer hear the tap, tap, tap.
So unless you're wearing headphones, it's a little distracting.
It's weird.
The mesh ones are better, but they cost more money. I mean, this sort of thing costs about $1,000 for this whole setup. You can get a really nice acoustic drum kit for $1,000.
Right.
And if you get the mesh ones and the full size thing, you're looking, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $7,000. So it's a lot of money.
These are more flexible too, because you can assign different sounds to the pads as you can with any MIDI.
Right, exactly. It's a MIDI controller. In fact, when I record drums for my podcast, this isn't actually my kit. I either use a loop or I just trigger it from a MIDI keyboard or from a little drum pad.
Let's explain that, because I think people know what a synthesizer is. But what is a MIDI controller?
Well, what a MIDI controller is, if you look at a keyboard or a drum kit like this, or there are even guitars or just pads, what that's sending is it's just sending a digital signal.
It's not making a sound.
No, it's sending in this case, it would come out of the back of here and it could go into the computer.
The computer's the synthesizer.
Through an adapter, and you get a MIDI cable, which is like this, and it goes into a USB cable like this, and goes into your computer. So it sends a signal just like you would send from a typing keyboard, and goes in there, and the computer says, oh, well, this is this particular number signal, and I will make it this sound.
Got it.
So this module has its own sounds that it's generating, which is what we're hearing now.
So these sounds are not coming from the computer?
No, they're coming out of here, but we could just as easily take them out of the computer.
So this is the synthesizer in this case, or the computer would be the synthesizer. These just trigger it.
The computer doesn't care if it's a drum pad or whether it's on your keyboard.
That's why you can play a horn section with a keyboard, or a drum, or a guitar. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I might even be able to show you that if we have time.
Okay, well, let's see what you can do.
Yeah, so in this case, here we have a bunch of the pads. These ones are drums.
Right.
This one acts as a cymbal, even though it looks the same.
Right.
These are other cymbals, and has different parts on here.
Oh, where you play it matters.
But you could actually plug them all in different order, and this could be a tom, and this could be a cymbal.
Now, I notice you have a pedal here.
Yeah, and this one is for that hi-hat chick sound.
That's the hi-hat.
So I can go...
And then you have a bass drum.
This is for the bass drum down
here.
And
it's kind of funny. I mean, they make it look like a bass drum so that you feel comfortable with it, right?
Right, exactly. This is for somebody who's used to playing the drums.
Right.
Paul, for example, he's used to playing the drums on his keyboard.
Right, so he doesn't need this.
He doesn't need this, but I do, because I can play like this, like I do on a real drum kit. And it feels somewhat the same.
Right.
And the nice thing about MIDI, the disadvantages are it doesn't sound quite like a real kit. You don't have all the subtleties.
They're getting better, though.
They're getting much better. But once you get it into the computer, you've got the advantage. If we want to listen over here, let's take a look.
So first of all, how would you record?
Well, what you would do is you send the MIDI signal over, and I've got GarageBand here.
Okay.
So the MIDI signal goes through the USB cable, like I show you, and then you just set up what they call a software instrument.
Right.
And you pick which sound you want. I've got the
So the computer's not recording music; it's recording what you're doing, your actions, and then matching it to a sound.
So in this case, I've got a sound that I recorded earlier, like that.
Yeah.
But that's with the rock kit. I could just as easily pick another kit, the Indian and Middle Eastern kit, which has totally different sounds.
And the same triggers.
That's the same triggers.
But it sounds more like
Or I could even go over and say, well, let's make it a gospel organ. Even though I played it on the drums, I could change it into an organ.
Let's hear that.
Sounds a little weird.
It does and it doesn't. I mean, it's interesting.
But what's interesting about that is you can play a part on one instrument, and then if you want to get a different sound out of it, you can change it to another instrument. So I had some where I took a part that was a bass part, And I said, I'm going to make that a drum because it's got the beat.
Right.
And then I put that into a song. So you can even take loops that other people have made and turn them into a completely different sound, and then it doesn't sound like the loop
Isn't
anymore.
that fun?
Yeah.
And if you're a master of one instrument, but you'd like to have other sounds in your orchestration, you can play them with your instrument.
Well, exactly. If you're a guitar player and you don't know how to play keyboards, you can get a guitar with a MIDI thing in it and play chords that sound like they're on a keyboard, or vice versa.
Isn't that amazing? Now, you're using GarageBand.
Right.
There are many other programs.
You could do this with Pro Tools. You could do it with Logic. You could do it with Cubase. Pretty much all the programs will support external MIDI devices controlling.
They'll say on the box it supports MIDI controllers.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So pretty much all of them have some sort of MIDI support.
Right.
Or there's also dedicated programs. There's a program called BFD that's just drums, and they actually have one kit that includes the kitchen sink. It's everything including the kitchen sink.
Are the sounds in BFD better than the sounds in GarageBand?
They are much better. In fact, GarageBand, the sounds are actually pretty good, and the jam packs you can buy are quite good. BFD has thousands of different sounds. Battery is another one from IK Multimedia.
So a pro will buy a higher-end kit that will have more realistic
Not only
sounds.
that, you get the more realistic sounds, and you get the option of saying, okay, I want the mics up a little higher and a little more room sound and more reverb.
Oh, interesting.
And whatever else, and you can say, I want this particular kit made by Ludwig in 1962.
Oh, no kidding.
All that sort of thing. Same sort of thing you can do with the guitar stuff I showed you in an earlier show. Yeah, I want this amp on the computer. So that's the advantage you have. You can play the same part on here, and it sounds like one drum, and then you can change it. And it's
this is a Yamaha
DT Express is this one. Roland is another company that makes really good MIDI drums. Alesis. There's a number of manufacturers.
Now, people are still going to play real drums, right?
I do. And if you think about it, if you're in a band like mine, the band I play in is a sort of 60s retro band, and we wear wigs and
you got to have
jackets.
real drums.
If I played this,
Kraftwerk, you might use
if I was in an 80s retro band, maybe I could do this. But a 60s retro band, I've got to have real drums. So,
but is the sound still also better in a real drum?
It is. And what the key thing is not just that the sound is better. So, for example, that bass drum sound is fine. That sound is all right. But if you want to get the real,
you don't have the fine control.
That sounds like a machine.
It
It's not that real subtle
Why is
sound.
that?
Well, it's because this pad doesn't have all the sensitivity that a real drum would. Now, some of those higher end ones are going to go a lot better now.
Yeah.
And then you've got the edges, like that.
Do we ever think that these kinds of things will replace real instruments?
For the most part, no. I mean, even though you can get a digital piano that sounds a lot like a real piano, real pianists want a real piano in the end, because it's not quite the same. It's pretty close. There's some things, obviously synthesizers, there is no such thing as a real synthesizer.
Right.
So it depends on the instrument. And guitars, again, it's really hard to fake a guitar with a keyboard.
If you're a kid now and you know that the future is with synthesized music, but you want to learn an instrument, what instrument's the best for? Is it a keyboard?
Well, I would say, generally, if you learn piano, I mean, that's sort of the basis of the whole way music is
You can do
notated.
anything.
You can do pretty much anything. Paul does he's a keyboard player. He doesn't play guitar or drums really, but he can do everything on his keyboard or with some trigger pads. And plus that, you're using two hands, you've got a lot more sounds. I don't play piano very well. I didn't really learn it until my daughter started learning it. Guitar is a useful instrument in general because it's a little easier to schlep around with. Drums, more specialized, and if you're getting into the oboe or the the harp.
But you could play a synthesizer with any of those. I mean,
if you could get a synth oboe, I don't know if there is such a thing. I know there are saxophones.
I would be surprised.
But,
Derek K. Miller is a great talented musician. You can hear a lot of his music online at penmachine.com.
That's correct. And InsideHomeRecording.com, and we're having a video podcast too, InsideHomeRecording.tv. That
I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, so just short little tutorials like this sort of thing.
Oh, that's great. InsideHomeRecording.com and .tv.
Yeah.
And say hi to Paul for us. Sorry he couldn't be here today.
No problem.
We're glad we could have you. Derek K. Miller. And now, actually coming up in just a little bit, Yule's Jewels, but right now, a close-up of something you might find commonly around the laboratory. I don't know what that is. Tell you what, we'll zoom out and we'll find out when the lab continues. Welcome back to the lab. Before the break, we showed you that. Well, I don't know what that is. It's two buttons. But what are they buttons for? Oh, the AvoSense switch fuel KVM switcher. That's what they're for. Didn't you know that? It's even got my name on it. All right, let's get another caller on the show here. Oh, I'm going to go Brian Ewell first. I'm sorry. Hello, Mr. Ewell.
Hello, Mr.
Are you time
Ewell.
for a jewel?
I think so.
All right.
And today we're looking at soundsnap.com. That's why we call them jewels. It's not a free file. Anybody with a browser can...
You sound like you're apologizing.
Well, you know, I don't want to confuse the people.
App.
It's a web app.
That's an app.
Well, it's actually what it is. It's a collection of totally open source, free, downloadable sounds.
Oh.
So if you know,
I'm always looking for sounds.
So if you know you're making your own videos or just playing around and you don't want to like do your own sounds, explosions.
Sound effects. That
So
kind of
this is the interface. It has different categories. So if we go to the main page here, you'll see that we can browse by category coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And so we got animals, we got buttons, we got comics,
we got silly stuff.
We got all kinds of silly stuff. So I've already got a couple loaded up here. So let's just go in and let's check out a metallic whoosh here.
How's the quality on those? Is it pretty good?
I find that
because it's user uploaded, right?
Yeah, it varies, but they give you ratings here, so you can see that some have 5 stars, some have 3 stars. If something has less than 3 stars, you're probably going to want to stay away.
Right.
The quality, for the most part, is pretty good. A lot of times, the sound effects is easy to get into the cheesy area. So, but I've noticed there are some good ones. There's some kind of background sounds. There's this one subway sound here, where if you want to pretend you're on a subway, you could just have that playing. So it's a pretty good site. It's got free sounds you can download, MP3. Soundsnap.com.
Yes. Some of them are waves, some of them are...
They're MP3 waves and AIFS, but not all 3 are available sometimes for everyone, but one of those 3 will be.
Any one of those is going to work for you, I'm sure. Find it where?
Labwithleo.com, free files, jewels.
All right. We have lots of them, lots of great ones here. Now I take a call.
Oh, there you go.
You threw me. Brianna, who do you have here?
I have Jim, and he's from Campbell River.
All right. Hey, Jim, how are you today?
Excellent, Leo. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks for calling. What can I do for you?
Well, first off, I want to say I'm a real fan of your show.
Thank you, sir.
And I'm a relatively new computer user.
Okay.
And my question was, like a lot of these add-ons that you can get for your computer, especially from the free files and whatnot, things like advanced window care. My concern is, are any of these harmful to my computer?
That's a great question. And in general, I would say you don't want to use you really want to stay away from the programs that run in the background.
Right.
Like advanced window care. Any program that runs in the background uses memory, uses resources, the CPU cycles, can impact reliability, can impact security.
Right.
So anything that's running in the background, let's turn them off.
Okay.
But as far as just free files that you could try, even then I would be careful. If Ryan recommends something, you can trust it because Ryan goes through a big process. I mean, Ryan, you just took off your microphone. I can't talk to him. You go ahead, hold it up to your mouth. You don't have to put it on. You don't just say, oh, let's put this file on. You make sure there's no spyware in it.
I usually check out sites that download.com, Softpedia, places that actually do a lot of the checking for you, and then I run firewalls to see if these programs are trying to communicate with the internet.
The stuff this guy does.
So, and use Google search, see if someone's reviewed it, see if someone's used it before.
That's actually a really good point. If it's spyware, you search for it, you will find somebody who says this thing is spyware.
Yeah, you probably will.
Yeah, that's a very, very good tip, and it comes from somebody who is always downloading stuff. Google it, Jim, if you're in the least bit of doubt. So in general, I say don't have things running in the background if you can avoid it. The only things you might want to have running in the background are your antivirus, if it's scanning your emails to make sure there's no viruses in it, an anti-spyware program watching for spyware-like activity. Those are okay. The rest of it I wouldn't worry about. What does this Windows Care do? Or claim to do, I should say.
Well,
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It's an elixir. It will make my Windows be better somehow, right?
Well, basically, yeah, like it's got spyware removals, security defense, registry fix, system optimization.
I'll tell you what, that's another thing to be aware of. Anything that does a lot of stuff means there's a whole bunch of stuff running in the background in your system. Free stability and performance boost. Fixes errors and security threats and slowdowns, freezes and crashes. Give me a break. This doesn't do that. It's snake oil. It's just exactly the same as when the guys used to come down the street with the bottles that say, this is going to cure what ails you. You got warts, you're tired, you're sleepy, you can't stay up all night. If you've got problems, friends, this is exactly all that is.
Right.
Oh, shut up. Oh, that's what happens. That's the next thing that happens. This elixir is going to save your life. Come here, son. Take some of this. Eat better. You can see how silly this is.
It was amazing. It changed my life.
And I noticed they're offering it free. I wonder why. I have to say, I'm glad you asked the question. Now that I look at this, Jim, I'm going to go even farther and say, whatever you do, don't install that.
Okay.
And the Windows is pretty well designed. Microsoft has a lot of people working very hard to make Windows work well. If it were really easy to write a program that would keep it from crashing and having security problems, don't you think Microsoft would have done it?
I would imagine so.
Yes. This is, I don't even know why they're giving this away or what their angle is, but I can tell you right now, at some point they're going to ask you for money. At some point, because nothing like this is really free. I'd stay well away from it. I'm really glad you asked me about that, Jim. I do not recommend running these things in the background. My experience is they make your system less reliable. There used to be a program from Norton called, was it Crash Doctor or Norton Don't Crash Anytime, Anywhere. I can't remember what they called it. All it did was crash your machine. That's what it did. It made your machine crash. Stay away from it. Okay, Jim?
Thank you very much.
It's very tempting. It makes you feel like, oh, my sister's working. But you might even feel like it's working better. It's not. My car runs better after a car wash. Did you know that? Coming up, it's true. I'm not kidding you. I watched the car runs better. A tutorial on tutorials. Rick Yeager is going to show you everything you need to know to make your own tutorials. But first, a quick quiz question of the day. What was the first product manufactured by Yamaha? We saw that Yamaha drum synth. And I know they make motorcycles, right? Was it a motorcycle, an upright piano, a reed organ, or a combination motorcycle piano? I don't know. I'll tell you what, think about it. We'll tell you when the lab continues in just a bit. Welcome back to the lab. We don't need Windows Advanced Care. We've got Rick Yeager. He's advanced care for everybody. He is the Mac Merc at Mac Merc. How long have you been doing Mac Merc?
A
long time, apparently.
8 years.
How many? 8 years?
8 or 10 years, yeah.
It's a great website, macmerc.com. And it's all sorts of stuff there. Photoshop tutorials, Mac, the latest Mac news.
Yep.
It's a really fun site. And I know during the day you're a graphic artist.
Yes.
Do you use this next program?
I am going to start using it because it just came out as I was pitching ideas for the show. This was
It's called Screen Steps.
Screen Steps.
And it's used to make tutorials.
Yeah. The company that made it for themselves.
That's always good because that means they used it as they were writing it.
Exactly. Yeah. Steve Jobs said the same thing about Keynote when they released Keynote, that this is what I've been using and refining, and now it's ready to
It's called
put a
eating
price
your
tag
own dog food. It's something sometimes in the industry, yeah.
So Screen Steps allows you to put together tutorials, not only make them, but organize them so you could almost do a book of tutorials.
So a teacher might use this to create lesson plans, a trainer might use this to train people.
All those kind of things.
Yeah.
I think it was originally used in the medical industry to who knows what.
Better than manuals. We'll teach you how to use some equipment.
Right.
Or whatever. So show us. Let's see.
I'll show you. Okay. First of all, you've got the lesson library, and you can look at it as the individual libraries I've made, like the one I've made for Lab with Leo demos. And each one of those you'll see has little tags beside it. So you can see in tag view.
You can look at them by tag.
You can organize them. So once
useful if you had more entries,
Yeah.
obviously, yeah.
I get confused with two, so so I'm going to show you how to subscribe to an RSS feed.
So we can use screenshots.
So what it actually does is you've got this little clipboard button over here that's pulsating because it's actually recording. I should say that this program is available for Mac and PC.
Okay.
So what I do is I've already put a few steps in.
You can put arrows in and stuff like that.
Arrows and notation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to your RSS feed and show them what the next step is. And to do that, I'm going to hit Shift Control Command 4.
That's the record command.
The record to the clipboard.
Okay.
And what I want to do is show people
so it just actually does screenshots for you.
This little plus symbol.
Right.
And as soon as it's done, I come in here and it's right there.
Added.
It's added.
And now you could write text that goes with it?
Right, I can give it a title. Hit the plus, spells
the plug button.
The plug button. It teaches you how to make bad tutorials.
It's so easy. You can make bad tutorials really fast. In fact, in some ways, something that's this easy does tempt you because you typos and stuff, you're just whizzing along.
Yeah, just put them all in.
It's too easy.
So if I select this graphic, I can increase the size of it.
So it has a zoom level, which is actually very useful.
Huge. I can crop it if I need to. If I select it, I can crop it. If it's got a bit too much, I can just...
Yeah, you don't need that part. Just take that. Wow, that's really neat. So you're in the tool that is you use to create these.
Right. So when I'm doing show notes, I can notate as I go. Usually,
and even do screenshot. Oh, this would be really handy.
So when I'm doing a Photoshop tutorial, a lot of times I go through the process myself just to figure out how it's done.
Right.
Then I have to go backwards.
Do it all over again.
Do it all again and take screenshots. Then I have to place that in whatever editor I'm using and notate.
So this is much faster.
Much faster.
Now, what happens next, though? You're still working in the authoring program.
Right. So the next thing you do, and I'll show you on the one I've completed, which is actually the show notes for this segment. You can export them as PDFs.
Oh, neat.
HTML,
so
or
to, the web.
To their own service, Screen Steps Live.
Is that a website? There are a lot of other people's tutorials?
Well, I don't know how many people there are right now because
it's brand new.
Just kind of
but ultimately, this might have thousands of tutorials on it.
Right, and you subscribe to it. It's a $12 a month for the basic service if you're going to use it that much.
Right.
The free service is 50 lessons, max disk space.
So a teacher, that would be plenty for a teacher.
Right.
If you wanted to do a lesson plan for 50 lessons is tons.
Right.
And you could just store it there for free. You could even give the students a URL and say, lesson 1 is here, lesson 2 is here.
You can give them the PDFs.
Or give them PDFs.
Export it as PDFs. And once they're done, you can collect all 50 lessons into a single book PDF.
A PDF is a document format that almost anybody can read. So
fairly
it's
universal.
Very easy way to distribute this kind of stuff with graphics and fonts and text. And
right.
stuff. So it has drawing tools to highlight things, and I mean I know you use a lot of that.
Yeah, I'll go back to here. You've got drawing tools to show a sequence. You can see my.
So you put numbers in there. Is that pretty easy to do?
Very easy.
Here, there it is, sequence.
Another one.
Oh, look at that! Look at that!
They're going crazy. It's kind of like Sketch in a way where you can notate
another great program, yeah.
And throw in arrows anywhere you want.
This is really slick.
And it's just so simple because it's happening as you take these screenshots. Anything that goes to the clipboard as an image goes to this.
Now, how much is this program? Is it free?
Well, it depends on the level.
Okay.
That you buy it at.
This is from Mango Learning Systems.
Learning Systems.
Blue Mango. Not any old mango. It's a blue mango.
I lost my page with the price on it.
$39.95 for standard, $59.95 for pro. You wrote it down here.
Right. Thank goodness I did that.
I always know everything.
He knows everything.
Somebody says, Leo will never remember, and they write it down here.
That's
really cool. Now, do you get any free storage if you buy it, or do you have to then subscribe if you want to
Yeah, you have to subscribe afterward, I believe, to get that for $12 or $24 a month for the...
And there is a free version.
Yes, there is a free version.
I think this is great for teachers or anybody who has to teach people how to do stuff.
So for Windows, I'm not using Windows.
Well, it's cross-platform too.
Right, it's cross-platform, so it's just the print screen button.
Right. Since
it does do the cropping and everything to it.
Much handier.
It's all in there.
Very cool. Rick MacMurk-Yaker is, as I said, at macmurk.com and joins us frequently to tell us about very cool stuff like this Screen Steps. Is that ScreenSteps.com?
ScreenStepsLive.com.
And then ScreenSteps.com to get the software.
I think it's...
Say that 4 times
Blue Mango
Learning.com.
It'll all be in the show notes.
You know what? Go to what am I saying? Go to our website, labwithleo.com. All the details will be there. Coming up, we're going to answer another one of your questions, and we're going to talk about making better videos. Our good friend Warren Fry says, don't forget the lens cap. Stay right here. Welcome back to the lab. Time to get another call on the air, and I know Brianna's got one for us. Hello, Brianna. What do you got?
Hello, I have Marcus, and he's from Surrey, BC.
Hey, I like your shades, Marcus.
Oh, thank you.
Are those Oakleys?
No, they're not. They're dollar store specials.
You fooled us all, Marcus. I know it's tough when you're a superstar like Marcus from Surrey. Those bright lights can blind you. You're kind of like the Jack Nicholson of Surrey, aren't you, Marcus?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. What can I do for you today?
Well, the question I have is, I'm using different web programs right now, and Front Page 2000 is the one I'm using, 2003, and nowhere in the documentation does it say how to make one of those customized doohickeys, those icons that appear next to the web address line.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
You guys have one of those beakers?
We have a beaker. Yeah.
And I'm told that those are multi-layered things where you can drag them into your desktop too, and they require something special.
Well, it doesn't really require something special. It's an easy thing to do. Not all browsers support it. Microsoft was the first to do it with Internet Explorer 6, I think. Firefox does it. All browsers pretty much do it now. These are called favicon, which is short for favorites icons. So right now I'm showing our favicon on the lab with Leo. It's a little beaker. Isn't that clever? Notice it turns into a hand. You're absolutely right. In fact, it said that right there real quickly. Drag and drop this icon, and it will go onto the desktop. So let's try that. Now I'm really intrigued what happens here. So I'm going to drag this icon to the desktop. Now here's an interesting thing that happens. I said I'm going to drag this icon to the desktop. There it is. I did it twice. Now normally, for some reason it's not doing it here, but normally the icon would also be on the desktop. That's the funny thing with favicons. It only kind of, sort of, sometimes, most of the time works. So normally you'd have an icon there, and that really is why you want a multi-layered icon in there. It's a standard ICO file. So the basic answer to your question is you use an icon editor to create a .ico file, and in that ICO file, you put in your root directory of your website. So you don't use Front Page to do that. You just would FTP it or upload it. You could use Front Page if you want. Here's Yahoo's. Now notice when I'm zoomed out on Yahoo's, it looks pretty good. When I zoom in on it, it's kind of funny looking. It's not really very. And there's a reason. It's only 16 by 16 dots. So there's a real art to creating these favicons. Look, I have a favicon. It's my head. Again, if you scroll out and you look at it, it looks kind of like my head, sorta. You scroll in, it looks like a blob. I don't know what it is. And I'll tell you how I made this one. This is, whoa. It's kind of fun the way I made this. See, it really is just a blob when you scroll in. I use a favicon generator from htmlkit.com. This will take any picture and make a favicon out of it. So I just uploaded a picture of myself to it, and it turned it into that favicon. So you can browse. This is free. It's on the web, htmlkit.com. I'll browse around to a graphic item. Let's see if we have anything good in here. We probably don't, do we? Anything interesting on the Lab with Leo sketch? I don't know. I'll just take something random. That's not going to look very good. It's better to do something simple. And then it says generate the favicon. It's going to churn for a little bit. It'll give you a preview. This is going to look terrible because it's just like a big picture. It'll give you a preview, and then it gives you the chance to download it. You might want to create a multi-layer icon. A good icon editor will allow you to do this, that has a 16 by 16 for use on the browser, and then a larger 32 by 32 icon also in it, so that when they drag it to the desktop, it looks better. Because if you blow up a 16 by 16 to a regular icon size, it looks terrible. Who is that with you?
This is Felix.
Hey, Felix. Oh, he's a cutie. Is he a Boston Terrier? What is he?
Oh, that's a Jack Russell Terrier.
He's Jack Russell. I love Jack Russells. Asta was a Jack Russell. Hello, Felix. Oh, he likes you. Oh, boy. You must have had a bacon sandwich.
No, he can taste the KD on my plate.
Hey, so it's very simple. htmlkit.com, and you're going to love it. And put a favicon on your website. And if I were you, I would stop using Front Page, but that's another story for another day. That's not my favorite web design tool, to be honest with you.
Once you get used to it, it's...
Yeah, I guess. The real problem I have with it is it kind of generates non-standard code. It makes it a little tricky to edit with anything else. But now that you're committed to it, just hang in there and stay with it. Hey, thanks for the call. I really appreciate it, Marcus.
Thanks, bye.
Great to talk to you.
Smell you later.
Let's slide on over. Sean has a shiny. Actually, I like Marcus's shinies. Dollar store sunglasses. Look like Oakley's to me.
His dog Felix knew how to wave as well.
Yes.
I mean, you don't know whether you saw it. That was great.
I think there was a little of this action going on.
No, absolutely not.
No? You don't think so? So look, these are nice. These are laptop cases?
These are laptop bags from a company out of Seattle called Tom Bin.
Tom Bin.
Actually, it was our man Rick Mark Yeager that turned me on to these.
These are nice.
Really good bags. Now, one of the nice things about this...
You just could tell quality as soon as you zip it.
So these are actually made in their factory in Seattle. They listen to user feedback, so if you don't like something about it, you tell them, and they will incorporate positive feedback into their designs.
One of the things I noticed is these zippers have rubber seals on them, so if it's rainy...
This is the thing, because they're from Seattle, like here in Vancouver, they know how to deal with waterproofing.
And then there's some interesting little devices in here. For instance, that is for a cord to come out, so you could charge your notebook while you've got it slipped in here, and this is really neat.
Yeah, that one right there is called the Western Flyer. It actually converts. You have a shoulder strap that comes out the back here. So that one's really nice.
Okay.
Urethane inside, so waterproof.
Let's get the other side here so we can see what's in. This is, it got all sorts of, look at this, you could also, and they call it flyer because it's got a dock kit. This would be like you'd put your clothes in here and your laptop in here. That's fantastic.
Yeah, Zephyr is similar. It has inside it, it has a little filer system, so if you carry around a lot of documents, you can...
Like for a lawyer would be good. Oh, that's great.
Right, and I've actually got this one, the Super Ego.
Oh, that's the one I want because I have a Super Ego.
Yes, and this one...
This is kind of... Okay.
This one will fit everything you've got. It can fit your lunch, it can fit all of your... You've got a ton of pockets for your pens and all that.
These are really nice.
And in the back, this huge...
And this is where the laptop would go?
Right, this is where the laptop goes.
Oh, look, you've even got a laptop in there.
See, this one is not the one that comes with it. This is the downside with this, is that an actual laptop bag is extra. And we've got one here. It's called the Brain Cell.
So these are more like packing cases, briefcases, suitcases, and then you would add the laptop as an insert. Is that is that how they do it?
Yeah, and they've got little clips on the inside and little hooks on here, so you can actually bolt this into any of their bags.
And
so
this has all the padding.
Secure. And this will have the padding for the notebook itself. It's about $60 extra. The bags themselves are about $140, $150.
You know, that's not bad. I was prepared for a lot more. They look so nice and so well made. I thought $300 easy.
That's the thing, because they are so well made. It's worth every penny of it. Yeah. Especially when you start adding on these extras. So you got $60 here, $150 there. You pay
you're getting up there,
$25 extra for the strap. Still $225, but you know what? The fact that it's not going to drown in the rain, that's worth it.
Very rugged, I could tell. Waterproof. Yeah. Made in Seattle's a pro. Okay, whatever.
Well, it's local. It's not from this factory that you don't know about. And a lot of little extras that'll cost you more than the actual price of the bag.
That's how they keep the price low.
Yeah.
And you probably have to mail order these, I would guess.
Yeah, you can buy them in certain places in Seattle and around North America, but you do have to mail order them if you're out.
TOMBIHN.com. These are nice. Thank you for that tip, Rick. Does Rick carry one?
He does.
I want one now.
Super Ego here.
I'm gonna be going to the Tom Bin stores. I like this Super Ego. That fits me. All right, we're gonna take a break. Come back in just a bit, but first our quick quiz question of the day. Actually, the last chance to answer this one. What was the first product manufactured by Yamaha? Was it a motorcycle? Was it a piano? Was it a reed organ? Or maybe it was a combination motorcycle, piano, organ? Think about it. We'll talk about it when the lab continues. Welcome back to the lab. Before the break, we asked you what Yamaha made first. I'm going to guess a reed organ. One of these things is not like the other. It's a reed organ. I've kind of figured out your strategy, young Sean Carruthers. Hey, speaking of strategy, it's time to figure out how to put all this together to make your super movie. With us right now, our good friend, our newest colleague, Warren Fry, who is going to show us a little bit about video. You do a video podcast, so this is something you had to learn for that, if not sooner. Really. Yeah. So where do we start here?
Well, first off, everybody goes out on their first time out, and they shoot 2 hours with this thing.
Yeah, you use the camcorder you got, which isn't necessarily bad.
But you never go with the plan. And then you come home and you got 2 hours of footage you never touch again.
Yeah,
so
that's not a good idea.
I would say the easiest thing to do, grab a piece of paper and plot out something for your video podcast, whatever it is, some sort of map to go with.
See, this is typical. I went right to the equipment.
yeah, exactly.
I went to the toys, but you're absolutely right. Before you start playing, you got to do a little thinking. So you're saying write out a shot list? What do you think?
Not even a shot list. Just come up with a basic idea and what you're going to do to achieve it. And that's the best way you can possibly do to do a video podcast. Otherwise,
give me an example. Because you do a
example,
Doctor Who podcast.
Well, that's audio.
What is a video podcast?
Well, I do actually one for pay called Urban Mixer, and it's about events in town, and there's an interview segment. So we actually plot out exactly, we have a schedule we actually go on, and we don't always follow it, but at least we have some sort of, nebulous thing we can go by.
So that you'll get in that camera the stuff you need to make a finished product.
Exactly, and then it makes it so much easier to edit once we've got it all shot.
Yeah, and so you write it down, and do you take the list with you as you go out and shoot and check them off
My
as you go?
producer does.
That's what a producer
So he does
is
what I do here, he does there.
Yeah. Very cool. All right. So what else? What's the next step? We've planned it out. We know where we're going. We know what we're going to shoot for.
Well, the number one thing people do is forget to bring equipment, or just don't bring equipment that they find they need at the field. And
that's why it's nice to have a good kit like we were just talking about, where you have everything you know you're going to need. Start with a tripod. A lot of people don't do it all handheld.
No, exactly.
That's a big mistake, isn't it?
Because, you don't always use a tripod, but again, if you've got it on hand, you can use it or not.
And there's nothing like a nice, rock-solid shot.
It just makes you look that much more professional.
Right.
Even if you're using, this little camera here or this little camera here.
If I'm hiding behind it. Cool.
The other thing people don't ever bring is...
and these aren't expensive either. You can get them for as low as $20.
No, this one is, I think, maybe under $100. But you can get a really cheap one. And as long as it
doesn't matter. It's steadier than your hand.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Exactly. The other thing people don't remember to bring is good microphones. You never ever...
This microphone's bigger than your camera, so I know it's going to be good. That's huge.
That's a Rode. That's about $150, but it's specifically designed for video cameras, and it's a shotgun mic, so it picks up...
What is a shotgun mic?
It picks up everything in sort of a spectrum in front of it, as opposed to this, where you just talk down into it.
So, and a lot of times the mics that come on the cameras, this camera has a microphone on it. Pick up everything in the room. They're designed to get every bit of the sound.
But it just becomes this big.
You don't want that.
No, you don't.
You want what people are looking at. So this is almost like aiming at the same. It is aiming at the same place that the lens is aiming at.
Essentially, it is.
And it's going to pick up just that, not the background. Hence the term shotgun. That's right.
And then this mic is $25. I don't even know what the specs on. I just said, what do I want to spend? $30.
Cheap mic.
But it works fine. Like if you're going to go out and you're going to talk into it like this, it'll work just fine.
Again, better than the omnidirectional mic. At least you're putting this next to your mouth and the mouth of the interview subject.
It doesn't fit every single situation, but if you're on the road or it's a remote type thing, that mic is ideal.
Very good. Now, most cameras have a mini jack in, and so this mic is designed for a video camera because it has a mini jack connector on it. So you want to make sure you get one that has the proper connector for your
adapter. You can get an adapter,
right?
But then you're adding a layer of complexity.
Much better. There's one more thing to lose, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. What else?
Well, another thing people forget is A, to charge their batteries, and B, to bring the charger along.
Just in case.
Because you will run out of battery.
Right.
You just will. So it's good to have this around. And
you can always plug in. You're never without, something. This is important too. I think people don't listen to the audio that they're getting. If you at least check it, if you're going to be on camera while you're shooting yourself, you at least check it.
The worst thing in the world, and I've had happen to me, is you go home and your audio is terrible, and you don't know because you didn't bring these. Exactly.
That might be an okay effect, but you don't want to have it all the time.
And this goes without saying, but extra tapes.
Bring lots of tape.
And I've actually found these are high-def tapes. This
high
Canon
def? Wow.
HDV will run regular tapes and high-def tapes, and it'll record high-def on a regular tape, a regular DV tape, but these are actually better. They're a little more pricey, but you won't get tape dropouts with them.
Yeah, the cheaper ones you lose bits and pieces.
Yeah, you do. And then you have to work around that, and it's not worth it.
So you recommend this camera? You said you really like this camera.
Is beautiful. It's $1,000, and
the camera of choice. It's actually less than that now. They've really fallen in price. HV20 from Canon. That is the camera. Everybody loves it.
I used to use broadcast cameras, and this thing is better than some of the ones from 10 years ago.
Isn't that amazing?
It's $1,000 or less.
Yeah. Really good choices. Warren Fry, we can look for his audio podcasts on our website, which is Freiburg.
Yes, it is.
FREYBURG.com. And then what is the one?
It's urbanmixer.com.
Oh, that's
all one word, .com.
And it's like around town?
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. Urbanmixer.com. Brianna's coming up with a tip in just a little bit, and we're going to wrap things up too. We've got a little bit more to go. I hope you'll stay right here. The lab continues right after this. Thanks, Warren.
Right.
I'm back with old Chrome Dome Fry and Baby Ears MacIver.
Baby Ears Brianna, come on.
Baby Ears Brianna for the BB?
Yeah.
I'm cool with the Okay, that's cool. Brianna has a tip for us, a site that she found. This is kind of interesting. You ever listen to a song on the radio and you go, what is that song?
Exactly. And sometimes you know what you do, you get back to your computer and you Google and you type in the words that you remember from the song, lyrics. And then sometimes it works, other times it doesn't. So this website, it's me-do-me.com, which I'm pretty sure is what we decided what it's supposed to be saying.
Me-do-me, because it's do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do.
Exactly. I'm really glad you did that, so I didn't have to.
You don't sing?
No, not at all.
Right.
No.
Then you should demonstrate this.
Well, no. So basically what you do is if you have a microphone set up on your computer, you sing into the search engine.
No.
Or you hum, or...
No.
Yeah.
Does it work?
Yeah, it works. We did it earlier with the Star Wars theme.
It works? Okay,
Yeah,
Warren's our designated singer.
It's 95% accurate.
So set it up. Press go, and Warren, you pick a song, any song.
So you register.
I'll try that.
You register for the site. You have to do
you
that first.
can't
So
do that.
we've already done that.
Okay.
So the microphone's over here. Are you going to stand over?
Yeah, just lean over.
Okay. So I'm going to start. You got to keep it. It has a green bar, so keep the level of your voice at the green bar. That's when it works best. I'm going to allow them.
Point at him.
Don't sue us, George Lucas.
It's never gonna work.
That's not going to work because you
Wait a minute. Let me try it. Okay, let me try it. Start over again.
Hang on, let me.
What song should I sing?
It's got to be a popular one.
It's got to be something cool. Okay.
You know what else? This website is in there's people signed up in 33 different languages. So
Okay, you try another one. Hum another one.
Hang on, I gotta.
Warren's our hummer because I really can't do it. This is a good idea if it works. What are you, 80 years old? That was popular in 1910. You gotta hum a current song.
Yeah,
Let me do it. I like big butts that I cannot lie. Those other brothers can't deny. When a girl walks in with an itty bitty waist and a round thing in your face, Now, did that get one? Did I get it?
No, because it wasn't recording at the right time.
That was
a really good song.
Yeah, let's try it. Come on, press the. How much time do we have? Do we have time for me to sing? Okay.
Okay, hang on. Let me start it over then. I'm gonna start it over.
I'll point at you when it's ready.
Yeah, point at me when it's time to do my Sir Mix-a-Lot.
You have to do it for at least 10 seconds.
Okay, go like this when I'm done. Okay, here we go.
Hang on.
This is exciting television. You don't see this every day. Sure, this is never good. Does it work? So it worked once.
It did work once.
With the Star Wars thing.
They have a 95% accuracy rate.
Oh, yeah, that's what they say.
So
let's try it.
Yeah?
You cue me.
It seems as though my internet's not working, but you know.
Cue me.
Go.
I like big butts and I cannot lie. Those other brothers can't deny. When a girl walks in with an itty bitty waist and a frown thing in your face, you get sprung. I get that. So what happened?
Did not return any close matches.
Oh!
Must mean you have to sing it again.
Snap!
Yeah.
I've been burned. Anyway, it's fun. Play with it at home. You'll probably work much better if you actually can sing.
I have any talent whatsoever.
Any talent. So it does words or humming.
Yeah, or humming. So if you don't know the words even, and you just know the beat of the song, that can work for you too.
Oh, the beat even?
Yeah. And it's kind of like a social site as well because you can record music yourself.
You should record. I would like to hear.
You can record your own songs.
I would like to have, if they had an engine where it just popped up what people have been humming.
That's what it does. So if
you can listen to other people's?
Yeah, you can listen to other people's.
I like that.
It's amazing.
Thank you, Brianna. Thank you, Warren. Nice singing. Thank you for being here. We really appreciate it. I hope you learned something, found some useful information. Share it with your friends. And don't forget, you can be on the show too. All you have to do is go to our website, labwithleo.com. We've got information about everything we've talked about on the show and a form there where you can ask a question and get on the show. Brianna will call you.
I will call you.
Are people nice when you call them?
Generally, yes.
Yeah. Kate found that if you talk with a British accent, she was from Brooklyn. She didn't have a British accent, but she's found if you talk that way, people are nice.
Oh, I should start pretending.
Hello, this is Brianna, and I'd like you to be on the show. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.